Hi everybody, welcome to ukuleleworship.org. I'm Phil Rowley. Today we are going to work on Amazing Grace, one of the greatest tunes ever. So first I'd like to show you the chords. Alright, the first chord is a G chord. This song is in the key of G. The way I'm doing it today. You could play it in lots of different keys, but I'm playing it in the key of G. So it's going to start on a G chord, and the chords are listed right there on the website, but if I can show you how they go. Here's the G chord. You're going to put your first finger on the third string, second fret, your second finger on the first string, second fret, and your third finger on the third fret, second string, and then you strum all four strings. That is a G chord, and then the next chord is a C chord, and for that one I'm using my third finger on the third fret on the first string. And I'm using my third finger because it makes it easier to go to the other chords. If you use your first finger, it makes it a little trickier to switch to some of the other chords. So I'm using my third finger, third fret, that's a C chord. Now we have a D7 chord, and for that one you're going to bar all the way across the second fret, and then you're going to hold down the first string on the third fret. And I'm using my third finger for that. It's a little more comfortable for me. You could use your second finger. For me, I like to use my third finger and then kind of use my second finger to help with the bar sometimes. So I'm barring all the way across the second fret, then third finger is on the third fret, first string. That's a D7 chord. Now we have an E minor chord. For that one, I'm going to put my first finger on the second fret, first string. I'm going to put my second finger on the third fret, second string, and I'm going to put my third finger on the fourth fret, third string. I'm going to leave the top string open. That's an E minor chord. And then we also have a G7 chord. So here's your G chord again. To go from the G7 is just inverted. It's opposite of that. So the G7, you've got your first finger on the first fret, second string, second finger on the second fret, third string, and you've got your third finger on the first fret, first string, second fret. Sorry. So there's the G7 chord. Alright, now before you start the song, go back over and make sure you've got those chords. What you want to do though, before you start even trying to play the song, is practice going from chord to chord. So a couple of tricky ones that you're going to need to do for this song is to go from that G chord to the D7 chord. So what you might want to do, here's a little exercise you can do, and this is how I practice these songs, is play this chord, the G chord, play it like 4 times. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, now switch to the D7. 1, 2, 3, and I notice I'm not going really fast, I'm going slow. And if you need to go slower, 1, 2, 3, go as slow as you need to go. You want to try to get all your fingers to go down at one time. That's really what we're shooting for. Okay, and you could also just practice going back and forth. So you do one chord. You go like, here's the G, here's the D7. G, D7. Move very slowly and try to get so that all your fingers grab the chord at one time. Okay, so that's one transition you need to work on, the G to the D7. Another one is going from the G to the E minor. That's another one. So practice that. You could do the same thing. You could do 4 G chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 E minors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Find whatever works for you, but what you want to do is practice those little transitions first before you try to do the song. All right, so that's the chords. All right, now I'd like to show you a couple of different strums that you could use for Amazing Grace. There are lots of different strums that you could use. I'm just going to give you a couple ideas. Amazing Grace is in 3/4 time, and what that means is that each measure in the song only has 3 beats in it instead of 4 beats. So the way you're going to count it is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you never count to 4. You only go to 3, and then you start over on the next measure at 1 again. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. You're at the next measure. Okay. So here's a couple different strums you could use. You could use a real basic strum. You could just play all 3 beats. You could play it like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So the way that would sound would be like this: Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. 1, 2, I once, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you get the idea there. I'm just strumming on 3 beats. Again, I'm not a singer. I'm just trying to show you kind of how the song goes here. Okay, so that's the most basic strum, probably. Another strum that you can use a lot of times when you're playing in 3/4 time is this one, where you play, you're gonna, of the 3 beats, the second beat, you're gonna kind of double that one up. So you're gonna go 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to think of the strum, it's down, down, up, down. Up, down. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. 2 and 3 that saved a wretch like me. I once, 2 and 3 was lost, 2 and 3, but now am found. 2 and 3 was blind, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1. Okay, so that's another strum. There's a lot of different ways you could break up that 3/4 time. You could just play more of those up beats, so you could go 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1. So you might want to try muting your strings. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. I highly recommend count out loud, so you want to make sure you stay in 3. What the tendency is, especially if someone's new to playing music, is that they forget where they are and you kind of move back into playing in 4. So make sure you're staying in 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I would recommend try to play through the whole song on the ukulele first. Get comfortable with that before you try singing it. Okay? All right, so that's a couple different strums you can use. Okay, you can also play the melody on the ukulele. I'm going to kind of just play it for you instrumentally. The idea here, what I'm doing, I'm not playing the melody exact. What I'm doing is sort of playing around the melody a little bit. And I think the best way to work on this is just take those chords and follow the chords and see if you can kind of pick, without moving your fingers, just holding the chord down, see if you can find the melody within the chord. Okay, so the first note, the first chord is a G chord, and the first note is a D, which is right here on the 3rd string. When you're holding down the G chord, the first note of the song is this D right here. So I'm just going to start with that, and I'm going to kind of pick around the melody a little bit so you can have an idea. I'm improvising a little bit here, so just maybe you can just pick it up, and you could come up with your own version of the melody of kind of what I'm doing. Take it your own way, do your own thing with it. This is just my sort of interpretation. Okay, here you go. Okay, so that gives you an idea how you could kind of mess around with the melody there. I think if you just kind of mess around with that a little bit, you'll find it's not that hard to pick out the melody. I'm doing a few little hammer-ons here. That's what I'm doing here when I'm playing some of these, like the D7 part I did like this. I'm just strumming all 4 strings and hammering on with that finger. So I'm using a few different little hammer-on techniques like that, but for the most part, I'm just picking around the melody and playing and holding the chord down. So I hope you find that helpful. Best of luck to you. I hope you're able to play this song. There's lots more stuff at ukuleleworship.org, and I hope to see you there. If you have any requests for songs you'd like to learn, drop me a line. Let me know. Maybe we can put a video together. Thanks a lot.